Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, California Weather Watch Special Edition, January 5th. Taking a look at the infrared satellite imagery here. You can see the deep low pressure system finally weakening, moving north across the Pacific Northwest, continuing to bring precipitation in towards the state of California. There is a thunderstorm threat, as you can see some unstable air back here behind the cold front. Taking a look across Pacific Ocean, though, there is something more sinister even developing here across the Pacific, north of the Hawaiian Islands. Here you can see this fetch of atmospheric river here stretching all the way back towards the tropics and subtropics. This is going to be making its way towards California here over the next few days, as well as a few other systems also. We'll take a look at that here coming up in a moment. Now, taking a look here, this is day one excessive rainfall outlook. This is kind of wrapping up the storm we're going through now, so these warnings are probably going to be dropped here shortly. But day two is here. You can see hot on the heels, another atmospheric river affecting portions of northern California, southwest Oregon here. This would be from 4 a.m. Friday to 4 a.m. Saturday shown. This would be day three, 4 a.m. Saturday, 4 a.m. Sunday. You can see it starts to include the Bay Area, again, the coastal areas, portions of northern California in the excessive rainfall outlook again. Day four continues on, mainly for Northern California. Sierra Nevada's here. Day five, this is when that big atmospheric river potentially could be moving on to Central California here. This would bring big problems here, folks, because the stage would be set across the northern half of California for some pretty extreme flooding if this does materialize. This is for 4 a.m. Monday to 4 a.m. Tuesday, January 9th through January 10th shown here. So that's day five. Now, taking a look here, there is a risk for thunderstorms across much of the state today, the day one categorical outlook here from the National Weather Service. And I thought you guys might like to look at this day one fire weather outlook here. There's no fires anywhere across the USA, including California here. So no threat to that. Just kind of nice to look at this time of year and kind of remind you where we might end up this summer here across a lot of the West Coast and Intermountain West as the fires start up again. So you got to enjoy these times. Now, taking a look here, National Weather Service Los Angeles storm totals here as of 8:30 a.m. Some pretty good amounts coming across the area here, even across much of the Los Angeles metro, well up over an inch and a half. You can see some 4 or 5 inch totals here in some of the higher terrains. Less as you go towards the valleys, and that picks back up again as you go towards the Sierra Nevada. But look at the coastal ranges. Some very impressive rainfall totals here for the last 24 hours. Now, this is always good to remember here across from the Sierra Nevada as well. Backcountry avalanche warning here as you go in through Friday morning. Central Sierra, Greater Lake Tahoe area. High risk out there. Watch those steep slopes. Just have a heads up there if you're off in the backcountry for that avalanche danger. This was San Francisco yesterday. Taking a look here. Look at 60 miles per hour. It reached that a couple times. That's a very intense wind. That's a severe wind. And you can see a lot of gusts over 60 miles per hour in the surrounding areas as well. Oakland, 59. Some areas getting up over 80 miles per hour in the higher terrain as well. So, it was a pretty good windstorm moving through the area yesterday. This is the rest of Northern California here. And you can see some gusts up over 60, 80 miles per hour. There were numerous gusts over 70 miles per hour as well. Big winds across a lot of the Sierra Nevada. Also, even down into the valley, Sacramento gusting up over 50 miles per hour also. So nice, intense storm moving through the area across Northern California shown there. This is Southern California here. You can see Santa Cruz up here. In Los Angeles, just kind of a blustery system. Some gusts getting into the 30 mile per hour range, but the higher terrain, look at this, some gusts over 50 miles per hour did materialize, as you can see. Now, taking a look here, I thought you guys might like to see this. This is the global look at the jet stream at 39,000 feet. You can see the strongest jet stream in the world resides here from China across Japan, across the Pacific Ocean here, and it is aimed at California. It's going to continue to bring in the systems for us here in California. Now, like I said, this first system will cause problems. There'll be damages, probably deaths, as you guys heard about, I'm sure, but the problem is the continuation of these storms. We're going to saturate the ground. We're really setting the stage for a potential huge flooding event across the state of California on in through early next week here. We're going to really have some saturated soils across the areas here, and we're going to bring a strong atmospheric river, it looks like, into Central California. And this is shown here. This is kind of an atmospheric river rating scale here. You can see exceptional, extreme, strong, moderate, and weak. And you can see anything below that would not be an atmospheric river. But you can see what's potentially coming here as you go on in through the 9th and 10th of January here. An AR4 pointed at the Central California coast here. And you can see that we're going to have to go through like another another one here as we go on into 7th and 8th as well. So basically it's based on duration here, the amount of vapor that you transport into the area here. And the longer the duration and the more vapor it transport, the closer you can get to the strong and extreme ratings here. And that's what looks like may happen on through the 9th and 10th of January. So this is looking at the GFS. This is looking at that integrated vapor transport here. We're wrapping up this storm. Quickly, this next one moves in here as we go on into January 6th here, the afternoon. And you can see this impacting Northern California, sliding down through Central California. Then not much of a break before the next system arrives there. And then you can see a much more potentially damaging atmospheric river flood-wise here as we start to move on in through the 9th and 10th shown there. And that one slides down through Southern California a bit as well. And then there's a potential for more systems on the backside of that also. So this just kind of seems to be a never-ending storm train here. This going on all the way in through January 12th shown. Excuse me. Now taking a look at the European, this is hot off the presses here, 12Z. This is the 4 a.m. run, the European model. There goes that frontal system wrapping up this storm that hit us yesterday here across California. You can see this one moving into Northern California here. So this is precipitable water, and this kind of shows you where the atmospheric rivers are. But the one we're watching is the one here. Actually, not that one here. This is the one back here. That's an additional system here. Sorry, got ahead of myself. You can see the much stronger system here, really pumping some very strong vapor transport into the state of California here as you go on in through the nighttime of Sunday, January 8th through Monday, January 9th here. And this would be a very dynamic system. This looks similar to what happened on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day as this low pressure developed here across some of the Bay Area and hung out and really dropped extreme amounts of precipitation. We have to really watch for that low hanging up there, and then the potential for more atmospheric river activity on in through next week as well. And not to get anybody too worried about atmospheric rivers. These happen all over the planet. You can see in the southern hemisphere all the atmospheric rivers going on. You can see them going on across the globe, really. It's just when they impact land areas and they hang up over any given areas when they become a problem here. So you can see that one coming here for California. You can see pretty substantial atmospheric river there, but these do exist across the planet. These are not unusual. They happen all the time. It's just when they impact places where people live and they hang out for a while, they can cause some pretty extreme flooding conditions. Now this is looking at the HRRR. This is the high resolution rapid refresh. And this is kind of what's going on for today. Let me back out a little bit here so you can see the entire state. But you can see this activity wrapping up as we go through the day today. But there is a thunderstorm potential here. We can see some heavier showers there. And as we go on in, we get a little bit of a break Thursday night into Friday morning before the next one starts to arrive from Northern California shown here. And that one will probably start to move down towards the Bay Area as we go on in through the day Saturday. As you can see some heavy precipitation associated with this and some strong segments in this frontal system as well for portions of Northern California. And again, this will slide south during the day Saturday also. This is for today also, lightning flash density potential. Heads up, especially in the higher terrain, the Sierra Nevada there, for some lightning strikes as you go through the day today before that finally starts to wrap up tonight. Now this is San Francisco here, all the way out through January 20th shown here. You can see some big precipitation amounts in virtually all the ensemble runs here. And you can kind of see this big atmospheric river potential here as it may be dropping 3+ inches in a 24-hour period along a lot of the areas there in Central California shown. You can see the control run kind of in line with the mean there. The mean is this bar. The control run is a blue. So the control run is a deterministic model here. It takes our initial conditions as best we know them and it runs it out. And the mean is the average of all these ensemble runs. We change these initial conditions to try to correct for any errors we may have in our initial conditions here. Hope I didn't confuse you too much there, but for the most part, it's going to be rainy here for the next 10 to 15 days across much of California. San Francisco, this is the 24-hour period wrapping up now. Then you can see that next atmospheric river showing up here. A lot of the ensembles with some pretty big amounts, including the control run over 3 inches in a 24-hour period. And this would be bigger amounts, of course, for the higher terrain areas across Central and Northern California. These are the winds. It's going to get windy again. Some of these systems are going to be strong as they move on in through this weekend and next week also. So watching for some big winds, especially across the higher terrain. This is San Francisco winds coming up here too. You can see looking out there towards the 9th and 10th, some big gusts showing up in some of these ensemble runs here. So we got to watch this closely again for windstorm potential there through central California. Sacramento, same thing here. Some of these ensembles showing some gusts up over 50 miles per hour as you go through the extended. This is all the way down to Southern California here, Orange County. You can see some gusts up over 40 miles per hour here showing up in some of the ensemble runs here. So we'll watch this system, see how it develops. We'll go day by day and make sure to alert everybody if it looks like windy conditions are coming to Southern California and the metro area. Now, this is looking at significant wave height, direction in feet. And you can see the swell that's kind of moving towards the Northern California coast this afternoon and the Southern Oregon coast and bringing large waves as we go through this afternoon. Should be increasing down there through the Los Angeles metro as we go through Thursday night tonight into tomorrow morning. And then you can see the additional systems kind of rolling around out here across Pacific Ocean, bringing each individual set of swells to the state. This is 6 to 10 day. This is warranted here. I showed this last night during the live stream, but you can see the huge above average bullseye here for the state of California, even including Nevada here up into Oregon. 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook bullseye here for California again. So that's going to be the problem here, folks. As I mentioned, the last several days now, the culmination of the storms is the real threat, not any one individual storm. And take a look what happened here. Let's look at this. Drought classification. I talked about this in my live stream last night. And look at this. There was some exceptional drought across the Central Valley here in California. They took it away yesterday. That's improvement, and we can deal with that. You can see it removes some of the severe drought and extreme drought here across California. So that's good. And hopefully this rain that comes in here, it's not just a threat. You have to have the rain to live, so we need this rainfall. You're just trying to give people a heads up here so nobody gets caught off guard with flooding or mudslides or roads being washed out or all that stuff, all that bad stuff. So anyway, we need the rain. It's going to help improve the drought, at least some here across the area, as it already seems to have done. So thumbs up for that. Now looking here, this is the Pacific Ocean. Here's the Hawaiian Islands. Here's the equator. Look at La Nina in charge. This is below average temperatures just dominating the equatorial Pacific here. And La Nina is marked by this upwelling where this cold air keeps rising up off the coast from underneath. That upwelling comes up along the course of South America and moves across the equatorial Pacific here. But look what's happening. You're getting some warm anomalies here in the equatorial Pacific and along the coast of South America. That looks like La Nina is on its way out and probably in its last, this is the end of the life of this La Nina, most likely here, folks. As you can see, these temperatures increasing here along the coast of South America. Not a good sign for La Nina lovers, and it's been around long enough. So we're definitely probably headed back towards El Nino here, if not this year, then probably the following year after that. So be ready for that. Anyway, we'll continue to watch that as we go on in through the coming months here as well on the channel. But yeah, so this atmospheric river back here is really the one that looks pretty nasty. And this thing is going to set up and move in through late this week and early next week. And it has potential for some serious flooding across the area. We already had some flooding yesterday, but that was just setting the stage for this continuation of storms like I mentioned. So anyway, we'll do this again tomorrow. I may do a live stream as things get clear on just how much of an impact this atmospheric river will have on the state of California, but we have to deal with systems before that, as well as this system is going to move into Northern California here as we go on into Friday as well. So anyway, hope you guys are enjoying these briefings here. Let me know in the comments what else you guys want to see. Thanks to all my new members, my new subscribers. We're getting up over 25,000 now. Let's get on to 30,000 as quick as we can. Get the algorithm out, get the word out here so we can warn as many people along the West Coast as to what is coming weather-wise here. So anyway, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.